Here are the best presets for patch 0.3 in Tarkov Arena. Before we get into that, just a few quick updates. There is another Arena Cup series, and then this will be happening on April 18th to 27th, and we have a few different teams competing. It'll be hosted on the Battlestate Games Twitch channel, and it looks like there's 25,000 euros at stake. The other thing is there's a Twitch Rivals tournament task here. So if you go into it, it's called Tournament, and you have to do a few different tasks. I believe this might unlock skins potentially. I'll complete it and I'll probably make a short about it, so check out my shorts. Because most people just start off with one custom preset, I'm only going to go over one custom preset that I find to be my favorite for each category. Looks like with the patch that just came out today, we now have 11,500 for the meta points. They did change this from my original video, so we no longer have the 13,000 point cap. Starting off, the AK-101 is actually my favorite weapon in Assault. You cannot have tier 5 armor anymore in Assault. The AK-101 is a great weapon to level, especially if you're just starting out, because you're able to unlock a lot of different parts. You're able to unlock both parts for AKs as well as a few parts that go onto M4s like the MOE, the Wave QD sound suppressor. This is one of my favorites because it doesn't have that much of an ergo detriment. Even though I really dislike 856A1, I think that I swear it's bugged because of the amount of ricochet that you get with 856A1. You can use whatever med you want to med your chest. I at least go with a car because with one use, you can mostly get your chest to full health. I use Propital at the beginning to give me painkillers because it pretty much lasts the entire match still, along with the 3 BTG. This gives me stamina recovery and 10 strength. Some people love using the Trimadol instead because it gives you endurance as well. But I just think the 10 strength is the only thing you really need just because that lets you run faster. I use the AHF1 stim because it boosts my health skill and prevents bleeds. So whenever I get a bleed, I use it instantly. Now, eventually this is what you're going to want for just kind of like a meta build for the most part. You're going to have to unlock quite a few attachments. So I'll go over the stock build and then the meta build. So starting off, just throw on the best possible pistol grip that you have available. I'm just going to go and throw on this Tango Down because it's plus 12 and I just like the look of it. Eventually you're going to grab this AK Evo stock once you get it unlocked. But before that, you're just going to basically throw on the best stock you can possibly put on. This might just be switching to the PT, CNET PT lock, as well as adding the PT1 stock on the back. Even if you're able to throw on this butt pad on the back, this rubber butt pad does make it a very viable stock, very similar to the PT3. So don't be super adamant about trying to get that one unlocked. If you can, get this neural charging handle. Otherwise, just unlock the RP1 for the extra ergo and throw it on there. I think you start with the Bastion, so just go ahead and throw on the Bastion. Have to remove the iron sight first, obviously. We're able to throw this Bastion on there. Personally, I would use your starting GP to unlock the XPS 0. This is my favorite sight. It's just personal preference. This is the one that I prefer to use all the time for pretty much all my weapons. You should have access to the B10 at the beginning and then just throw on the best grip that you have available. Eventually try to get the RVG Black. I think this only costs rubles. Ideally, you want the SE5. This is my favorite that I normally use, but we'll throw on the RVG. I'm not sure if you start off with this muzzle device adapter, but if you do, then go and throw it on and just put on the best attachment you can possibly find for it until you unlock silencers. You get this Wave 556 muzzle brake pretty early on. Go ahead and try to get this muzzle brake along with the Wave QD. You do unlock this by leveling up this weapon. This provides you with low vertical recoil along with still maintaining a lot of ergonomics. In the end, you have a gun with 56 vertical, 49 ergo. It is 650 RPM, so it's kind of slower, but that makes it so where you can control your shots much easier. You're going to want to take slightly longer angles because of this. And we have a muzzle velocity of 981 meters a second. So that means pretty much the bolt's going to go straight where you shoot. Just know that if you are shooting a gun with a low muzzle velocity, you might have to lead your shots a little bit more, like anything that shoots 9x19 rounds or lower caliber rounds. As you can see here, only hitting level 4, you unlock this Wave 556 and the silencer, as well as the 12 ergo pistol grip. You're going to want to switch to these 30 round mags once you get them unlocked. And sadly, unlocking the AK Evo is all the way at level 28, so you're going to really have to play a lot with this weapon, along with the CMRD handguard. But this handguard is really, really nice. Again, the heavy hitter here is being able to get ergo to like 59 basically with a 50 vertical recoil. So this gun pretty much has almost no recoil. We go to the shooting range here. Not only does it look really cool, but also if we aim down sights, Not really controlling any of the recoil. It shoots relatively on point. Again, this gun is mainly used to mostly shoot in bursts and control the recoil down a bit. It still shoots relatively quick, but it's just a very manageable way to control it while being on full auto. Because it's 650, you can space your shots and really just tap away with ease without accidentally shooting off, you know, a second bullet or a third bullet. I throw on the Maul laser there on the bottom just because I can set it to its infrared option, and then the silencer is one that you get a little bit later on. This silencer is really nice to unlock because you're able to throw it on any M4 or 5.56 variant. Silencer is called the Saker or Sack, you know, whatever you want to call it. It's the silencer here, and then you need this muzzle or flash hider as well to attach the silencer. If that gun shoots too slow, you can always make an M4 or go with the AK-12. It's a very streamlined leveling path here. You can see you even unlock that AK Evo at level 10. Unlocking it at level 10 allows you to use it across any weapon that you have that involves the AK Evo. So next up we have Enforcer. I really don't like playing Enforcer. A lot of builds involve, you know, using a shotgun, shooting people's legs out. I just can't do that. I just need to go for headshots all the time. That's just because that's what I practice constantly. With Enforcer, you cannot get any tier 6 armor anymore, so I have a tier 5 front plate. I do have tier 5 side plates, and then I have a tier 4 back plate. For the helmet, I'm using a TC 2001 because I'm able to wear a headset, and then you can customize it and throw on a tier 5 slap on the top. So if somebody hits the top of your helmet, which typically they'll be doing if you're facing them, and that's where usually it'll be able to tank a round or two. This RPK build is very straightforward. I'll demonstrate how to put it together here. You unlock this AK Evo even sooner with the RPK. You only have to get the RPK to level 8. Again, throw on your best pistol grip that is available to you. I just get rid of that base because it's not even worth having there. It's just an eyesore. Throw on your best foregrip. And sadly, there's just not a lot of options for the muzzle, and that it would really make the weapon very overpowered if you were able to have different muzzle attachments. So I just throw on this sound suppressor. You could throw on whatever suppressor you want here, or even just go loud. Going loud with this weapon might not be a bad idea, just because you get so much more ergonomic value, and it's able to decrease the recoil, I think, just a little bit more. I like to stay silent, so that's why I kind of use this TGPA. It already comes with attachments for tactical devices, so I just throw them all on the outer part just so I don't have it get in the way. Pretty simple build. When it comes down to the mag, I typically will use the 60 rounder. I think you might have to unlock, otherwise just use the AK-12 magazine that you're able to use. Don't use the old because you can't skin the old magazines. So you can only skin the AK-12s, and being able to skin these obviously makes you get wins. I also forgot to mention I'm always using the Comtac 6s just because it provides the clearest audible footstep sounds, as well as it just has the widest radius. You're able to pick up on those sounds a little bit easier. Scout is probably my favorite class. I love the AK-102. It is probably one of my most favorite weapons in the game because of that 600 RPM, and it has just such good stats. You're able to just hold down the trigger on this weapon. You're able to do pretty much the same thing with the MDR because the ergo is so good, as well as the recoil. You're able to just sprint around with this weapon all the time. MDR is very streamlined for leveling. You can see here we unlock the Saker as well pretty early on in level 11 here because there aren't too many levels overall for this weapon. And obviously the coolest part is you can actually skin the entire weapon, which is really cool. We're using 855A1 as much as we possibly can for this class. When you start off with the stock MDR, you will probably only have access to, again, that one foregrip that we unlocked before, the RVG Black. You're going to want to put on the CAC rear sight or any of them that give you +1. You can also see that they have 9 meta point costs. Any of the ones that have the 9 meta point costs will give you +1 ergo. Again, this is just free ergonomics. You can just throw it on the front and back of your weapon, and then throw on whatever sight you decide to use. If you have that wave 5.56 that we talked about earlier, make sure you throw this on. This will give you crazy high ergo value while still reducing that recoil quite a lot. Really, all you have to do with this weapon is wait to get that Saker silencer and then just replace it on the front of the weapon. Once you replace that silencer, then you have pretty much a meta build for the MDR. You can also see what items you can actually paint with the little spray can icon in the top left corner. I think this will have it for different weapon attachments. Yeah, you can see the little icon even in that picture there, or when you're going to select a specific item. This helps me because I'm able to color code my last magazine in my weapon. So I have this one spray painted in yellow, so I know that it's my last magazine. I would just choose your choice of face mask because Scout only has access to tier 3 helmets, so having a tier 3 face shield just kind of gives you high ricochet chance. Even if you want to throw on those shattered masks, feel free to do so. And then I just like the OTV because it gives me some side protection. So somebody that's using a shotgun with low penetration, my armor is able to tank a little bit of that. I just throw a tier 4 in the front and then a tier 3 in the back, just to optimize as much of my meta value as I can. Now moving on to Marksman, I love the SR25. It's probably my favorite single fire weapon in the entire game. So if you're going to go for distance shots, I would highly recommend the SR25. M80s have really good penetration. I just use the M80s as much as I can. Now they did update it to where now you can have tier 4 armor for a helmet, but they actually changed the meta point cost at the bottom here for armor. You can see that if I throw on a helmet instead, I actually go past the meta point cost for my defense, even though I'm not going over my entire meta score, point value. So that's where you need to just kind of pick and choose where you want your armor. I usually just go for the face shield still, just because you're not going to get a lot of protection with Marksman regardless. Now my favorite class for Marksman is definitely the MP5. The MP5 does not have a very good muzzle velocity. It's still 637, which is better than most lower caliber weapon types. What that means is when you're in a close quarters map, like Bay 5 in certain areas or in Chop Shop, you really don't have to lead your shots still. You can just pretty much shoot straight and your bolts will go exactly where you want them to. Comptax, Skull Mask, again, I have the OTV armor, same situation, same reasoning. And then I have as much PBP as I possibly can, just because it has 39 pen, 44 damage, and you're able to just let off. Because it has such a fast fire rate and low recoil, you're able to just shred everybody's face. Even if they're wearing tier 5 armor or a tier 4 face shield, they're still going to get obliterated if you just don't stop shooting at their face. Now starting off stock, you're not going to really have a lot of attachments. I recommend throwing on this tri-rail receiver. This is just purely personal preference. You can easily throw on this low profile because it has no ergo detriment and it does weigh a little bit less. I just prefer this because I'm able to keep the sight a little bit closer to my face so that I can easily see where the middle of the dot is. You unlock some silencers pretty early on. Starting out, I would just recommend sticking with going loud and just throwing on the best possible muzzle that's available to you. You eventually will be able to throw on this slug. That'll allow you to throw on a bunch of different silencers. The one you really want to end up with is going to be the Osprey 9. I believe you start off with this TL9 handguard, so definitely throw that on. Throw on, again, that RVG black. You cannot have any lasers or anything. All you have are rangefinders with Marksman, and I feel like you should at least have the ability to have lasers maybe with Marksman. I understand why they remove it, so that way you can't just run around with the SR25 and just use the laser to kind of spray off on people close range. But if you're able to do it in the main game, I don't see the whole point of adding in like an MP5 and not being able to at least have just a simple blue laser that everybody can see, because I feel like that nerfs it a little bit, having the ability to see the laser. It looks a little weird, but our build ends up kind of looking like this. You got 66 ergo with 37 vertical recoil. Once you unlock this handguard as well as a few other attachments, you're going to replace a few parts. I just still use the same upper receiver. I don't switch it out to the MP5 SD at the end, mostly just because it kind of yields the same results. It's a very good, straightforward build. Just as an honorable mention, I do like the PP19, but the muzzle velocity is just so horrible that you have to lead your shots so often with this weapon, even if somebody's just simply a few yards away from you. To top it off, I just threw in an extra 20 round mag here at the end. But again, we have the same stims, same meds, pretty much across the entire custom presets that I have. Now you might think to yourself, why not use the 50 rounder that's available here? It's because you get a minus 15 ergo, where with the normal MP5 mag, you just get minus 4. I want to maximize as much ergonomics as I can because I want to be able to just run and gun with this weapon so I can just sprint around corners, pre-aim, and just really snap to people's heads as much as I can. That is pretty much it. You guys have fun playing your matches, getting your tasks done, especially this tournament task, as well as leveling up that battle pass for cosmetics. One last thing that I really wish that I could see is how many matches played. I have had previously and like other wipes and things like that, being able to look at previous stats and previous competitive rankings. So hopefully we'll see that soon. I'm sure it'll come at some point, but hopefully this video has helped you guys out. If it has, please like and subscribe. I'll be bringing more content like this in the future. Comment down below to let me know which preset is your favorite, but I'll see you guys in Arena and have a good one.